Hey, everybody.
Hey, folks.
Welcome to, wow, October has gone very quick. How's it going, Otto?
Not too bad. How about you, Chris?
It's going well. I just got back from Next.js Conf, and yeah, happy to be here. Hey, everybody in chat. If you're in chat, say hey. We love seeing where everybody's coming in from. I'm Chris, a developer advocate on the DigitalOcean advocacy team. And this is...
I'm Otto. I'm the director of developer advocacy here at DO, and we have a great lineup of speakers today. But before we get into some of the fun talks, we wanted to spend a little bit of time reflecting on this year's Hacktoberfest. This is the 9th year DigitalOcean has hosted it, and I believe this was the biggest year for contributions and for number of registrations. So very happy to see the community get together and really contribute and make open source better.
All right, chat's coming in. What's up, Bjorn? A boot camp student from San Diego. That's awesome. Love hearing about boot camps. Hope it's going well. Let us know how it's going. Joe from Long Island. What's up, Joe? Rukshana. Hey, welcome. Yeah, so reflecting on Hacktoberfest, I feel like we just had the event last week. We had the event at the beginning of October, and it's just gone by so fast. And it's been fantastic seeing how many people have joined. Yeah, Otto, how's your Hacktoberfest going?
Couldn't be better. I was actually able to take some time this week and make some pull requests of my own, although they weren't part of the Hacktoberfest. They weren't participating in Hacktoberfest. They were important open source projects that needed updates. And yeah, I've been working with, you mentioned you went to Next.js this week. I've been looking at adding some contributions to the Next.js project. And yeah, it's been a great month for open source. How about you, Chris? Did you do any open source contributions this year for Hacktoberfest?
Yeah, I did. I have 2 in, so I haven't gotten the 4. But I'm sorry, everybody in chat. But that's how it goes. I feel like I've been really busy flying around for conferences. I had some stuff to take care of, but yeah, I just love seeing the support coming in. Bjorn over here going really well, learning about JavaScript and GitHub. Those are great things to get in your tool set. Yeah.
And we also have Leo from Brazil joining us. Hey, Leo.
What's up, Leo? Otto, do you have any... we love looking back, like you said, about just reflecting on Hacktoberfest. Do you have any projects that you want to highlight and show us?
So there, I mean, where do you start, right? I think one of, I'm going to share a link in the chat real quick. Hacktoberfest. So this is the official Hacktoberfest list of projects. I'll post it here in the chat so everybody can see and participate and see which projects are participating in Hacktoberfest, which projects you can get started with. And I feel like I can't choose from the 128,000 public repos available. I was scrolling through them today, seeing some of the cool contributions that people have made, and there is so much cool stuff, from web frameworks to low-level languages to, I've been learning Rust the last month or so, and I saw that Rust was part of Hacktoberfest as well this year. So lots of cool stuff.
I still have to dig into Rust myself. Rust had some pretty good news this past week at Next.js Conf. They released a Turbo Pack, which is a Rust-based successor to Webpack, I guess. What's up, Davi from Brazil? Yeah, so today we have some great speakers for you. A lot of people that I think are doing a great job at contributing to Hacktoberfest and helping out the open source community. And then towards the end of our stream today, we have a little bit of a game to play, a little Kahoot. If you remember from the first event that we did for Hacktoberfest, there was a really fun Kahoot where it was like 10 questions, true or false. So stick around for that. That'll be a lot of fun. I don't know the answers myself, so I'm going to be guessing along with you all.
Sounds good. And before we get into our speakers, I did want to just kind of highlight a couple of contributions, just to kind of show what the community has rallied around. And to show that Hacktoberfest, while it is a programming, coding type event, there's contributions of all sorts that made it in this year. So there's really 4 projects that I think kind of highlight some of the cool contributions that people made. And the first one I wanted to highlight was a code contribution. This one was by Metal Monkey. And so he contributed this piece of code to the algorithms Python repo, and I will share it here. So this was...
share your screen?
Yeah, I think I can do that. Let's see.
What's up, Waleed from Pakistan? Welcome, welcome. Bjorn's ready for the Kahoot. Love it. This Kahoot is going to be all about open source. The first Kahoot we did was Hacktoberfest was our topic, and this one is open source.
Right on. So yeah, like I was mentioning, this was a code contribution by a developer named Metal Monkey. And so he wrote an isogram checker, which if you're not familiar, I learned what an isogram is today. It is a word in which no letters are repeated. So this was an algorithm implemented in Python that checks a word and sees if it's an isogram or not. So the word uncopyrightable happens to be an isogram, while the word allowance is not. So very cool little code contribution. The next contribution I wanted to highlight was by Dom96. And this was another one of the Hacktoberfest accepted contributions, where he actually wrote a number of end-to-end tests for the Ghost CMS. So this particular pull request was writing a number of end-to-end tests for the post unscheduled webhook, but Dom contributed a lot of different pull requests, adding a bunch of end-to-end tests. And so if we check the Hacktoberfest accepted, closed issues, you can see that Dom wrote end-to-end tests for post.unpublished, post.edited, unscheduled, and a number of other webhooks. So great job, Dom. The third contribution, not a code contribution, but a documentation contribution. And this one was by, let's see, Nabar Ruxel. I'm probably saying it wrong, but a text document, a document or markdown documentation where they added GitHub labels and basically what the CLI does and how to use it. So a cheat sheet for how to use the GitHub label CLI, basically how to use labels with the GitHub CLI. And then the final one I wanted to highlight was by Kleber Rossi. And this was another important contribution. I think, Chris, you can agree with me that working with cores and fixing cores issues is one of the hardest things to do in programming. And so the Strappy headless CMS, I guess, had an issue where cores just needed the cores library just needed a bump from 3.41 to 3.42. And, bumping the version fixed the issue in Strappy.
That's like one of the worst updates for me is when you do everything you can and then all of a sudden you just figure out a dependency needed to just get an update.
Absolutely.
I've lost hours to that.
So many developer hours have been spent. I would imagine billions by now with fixing cores issues.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's yeah, billions more to come, I'm sure.
Yep. So, with that said, I think there is a lot of contributions that you can make during Hacktoberfest. So whether it's code contributions, testing contributions, content creation, translations, design, accessibility. So as we let our speakers kind of come on board and start doing their presentations, I will share in the chat some projects that are looking for help, looking for design help, accessibility help, documentation help. So I'll be sharing those repos throughout the day. But Chris, if you wanted to introduce our speakers or our first speaker, and we'll keep the show moving.
Sounds good. Yes. So everybody, we have coming up Vincent from Appright. And hey Vincent.
Hello. Hello,
Hey,
hello, hello.
Vincent.
How are you guys doing?
Doing well. What is today? Thursday. Yeah, doing well. I'm enjoying Hacktoberfest so far. How about you?
Uh Very busy but very enjoyable. It's one of those situations where your mailbox is just sort of a lost situation with all the GitHub notifications, but otherwise I'm doing good.
I know all about the GitHub notification. But yeah, that's a good problem to have, right?
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
Perfect. So could you give us an intro about yourself, about Appright, and then let us know what you'd like to talk about today?
Sure. I am a developer relations engineer at Appright, and at Appright we make a really fun alternative that's 100% open source to Firebase. And for those who are unfamiliar with Firebase, basically we make a backend server that you can, set up with like one Docker command, and it does most of the backend things you would need to build an app. So you don't have to rewrite the same APIs every single time when you write an application. This year, we've sort of expanded the types of contributions we wanted to take during Hacktoberfest, and that's been a really fun experience. So we're taking everything from demos to blog posts, translations, and everything else. And we've had some amazing turnouts. I have some rough numbers. I think we are now counting forward at around 300 plus sort of PRs related to Hacktoberfest. We created like 400 over 400 issues with a
Wow.
script that are relevant, so people have enough stuff to do. And we've had the honor to showcase 8 other projects during events, and we even hosted like an offline event, which was super exciting. Unfortunately, I wasn't a part of the offline event. And yeah, we've had a handful of peer review parties where we reviewed people's code live, and that's been really helpful, I found, for both people who are contributing bigger like contributions, so we don't have to replicate their whole, setup, and they can just show it to us and we know it works. And it's also been helpful for people who are contributing for the first time. We ask people to, turn out, and when we talk about other people's PR, we point out like these things are great, these things are not so great, obviously with permission, but that's great for people's learning. And we've been also seeing like a lot of really really fun contributions. Somebody contributed a WhatsApp authentication provider, which we didn't think
Nice.
was even possible, but they surprised us. Another person contributed a runtime for Perl for Appright's function service, which is a big undertaking. So again, super impressed. And other things like fun stuff like translation PRs, a lot of really humorous blog posts that are really, really well written that I enjoyed reviewing. And yeah, we also got to sort of flesh out our internal workflow because we have to churn through so many PRs, and that's been really
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah, sounds like
Okay, 6
good
minutes,
things
a
all
lot of things
around.
to cover.
Yeah. I want to point out real quick for everyone in chat. I've been using Appright a little bit, and I think it's fantastic. If you want to know, I did a demo with Brandon from Appright a few months back,
Yep.
and you can find it here on the DigitalOcean YouTube channel. If you just search for Appright, you can check out that demo. We basically built a live React app in a live chat React app, which was real time in like no time, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that's what's great about Appright.
Perfect. Yeah. So take it away.
is there? I'm guessing another good thing to get into would be just quickly talking about the other things people can that the other ways people can still contribute to Appright. We still have a lot of open issues. We've had more issues created than PRs, and so it is still not too late to contribute. And we're still taking lots of different contributions for stuff like function demos and blog posts that would take a lot less time, and that would help you learn about Appright. So it's still a great time to contribute. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope everyone can still take advantage of the rest of the month to contribute to Appright.
So one thing I want to call out is I think it's a fantastic thing to have a PR. What'd you call it? The PR
review party.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. It's so hard to envision and imagine what happens on the maintainer side of things, and just transparency into that process, I think, helps a lot of people feel more confident, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have those recordings anywhere?
We do them. We don't record them because it may or may not add a lot of pressure for people. So what we do is we have an awesome Discord community, and we just host it on a stage there. And so what we do to make sure that we only review people's PRs alive that they're comfortable with is we let them know we're going to have a PR review party at X time, and they can submit in sort of in a first come first serve basis their PRs in a channel and be like, hey, I want my PR reviewed here, and we just go through them, and we'd have just a bunch of people from the maintainer side on board, and we'd have one person hosting and organizing it, and we'd all be going through PRs, and when somebody finishes on our side, we raise our hands, and we all go up on stage, and we talk about the PR, and then we move on. It's really slow,
cool.
But it's super fun.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic. Well, all right. Thank you so much, Vincent, for joining us. Everybody check out Appright. I think they're fantastic, and a lot more ways to contribute still for Appright.
Yeah, October isn't over. There's still 4 days. And even after Hacktoberfest is over, please contribute to Appright, contribute to open source. There is, we can make software so much better by working together.
Yep. Thank you guys for letting me speak about Appright. And good luck to everybody else who is participating in Hacktoberfest still.
Yep. Thank you, Vincent.
Thanks, Vincent. Cool. All right. Next up, love hearing all those stories about, especially the PR review parties. I think that's so fun.
We should do those.
We should. So next up, we have Rizal.
Yep.
Did I get
Said
that?
my name right? Yes.
All right.
I know people are normally nervous. They're like, "Is it Rizal?" But you did it right. Is it okay? I'm gonna share my screen. Since I work at GitHub, it's not like we have like a story like how Appright did, but I was just gonna do a quick presentation on Hacktoberfest in general and what's next. Cool. Let me share. Chrome tab. Cool. It should only last like 6 minutes. Can y'all see it? Is it in full screen?
Mm-hmm. It's in full screen and it looks great.
Perfect. All right, y'all. So I'm Chad talking to y'all about although we're nearing the end of October, Hacktoberfest is technically not over yet. So just to start off, Hacktoberfest is my favorite time of the year. Maybe for some people, spooky season or Halloween is their favorite, but I am genuinely excited about contributing code or contributing to open source around this time of the year. And it didn't always start that way for me. I used to avoid open source a lot because it kind of seems scary. And for me, I was scared of the really overwhelming code bases, and I was nervous that people would laugh at my pull requests. So I'm kind of going to cover individuals being scared and then maybe businesses as well. And it'll be really quick. But I came to the conclusion of why would I spend time coding for free when I already get paid to code as a software engineer? So I avoided it completely. But in August 2021, I did end up overcoming that fear because I got a job at GitHub where I work right now. And what helped was me joining the open source project's Discord or whatever chat they had. By introducing myself, it helped me to gain a sense of belonging. I also took time to actually read the documentation. I realized that was a big mistake I was making, where I would just try to dive in and didn't understand how to contribute, but reading the documentation cleared up a lot for me. And eventually, when I contributed to open source, it felt super empowering. And maybe you can relate. Maybe this Hacktoberfest, you got over your fear of contributing to open source, or maybe before that, or maybe you're watching this stream and you're like, dang, I didn't contribute at all, even though I wanted to, and you're feeling a little bit of FOMO. I'm here to tell you good news. Hacktoberfest can technically last all year. And while you might not be able to win swag or a tree planted in your name in the other months, you can gain other opportunities like job opportunities. You can be able to build your network. You'll also get a chance to improve your skills and gain exposure to other tools and technologies outside of your job or school or whatever reason that you're coding right now. Well, and to also talk about code, it doesn't have to be code. And I really love that this Hacktoberfest, we emphasize non-code contributions. You can contribute designs and logo or designs for logos or web applications. You can translate docs, triage issues, test platforms, create content for that open source project. All of these things are just as valuable as contributing code. And for me, I will share that like my first contribution resulted in a lot. I wrote a blog post about my first contribution. And then shortly after, I got asked to speak at All Things Open and do a keynote there. And the opportunities have not stopped yet. And so I say this all to say that like, even if it's like one of the last days of Hacktoberfest, that doesn't mean you shouldn't contribute to open source or you should just wait until next year. You can start now. And I also want to recognize that there's not just individuals who are scared of contributing to open source or scared of open sourcing their projects. Companies are as well. There are some companies who are nervous about maybe open sourcing a project because they're worried about legal and copyright issues. They're worried about like reducing their code quality, decreasing their reputation, and they're also worried about the money aspect. But here's what GitHub does, right? In terms of legal concerns, we work with an OSPO, which is an open source program office to handle things like licensing, security vulnerabilities, tracking metrics, and more, because they're experts in that. And we just have them do that and we trust them. And then in terms of reduced code quality, people are always nervous that like you're getting a ton of open source contributions from people that may not be able to like live up to the bar or whatever for your code base. But I read a blog post the other day by Jim Brickman called Why the Best Companies and Developers Give Away Almost Everything They Do. And in there's a quote that says, when is your home the cleanest? My guess is that you do the most cleaning just before your guests arrive. So I think that open sourcing your code base can lead to you even cleaning it up even more, because you don't want people to like look at your code base and be like, ooh, what is that? In terms of a ruined reputation, people do get nervous about that, but think about it. Organizations like Google, GitHub, Meta, they all have open source projects and they're doing well. Even startups like Astro, it really helps with your marketing and your brand, and even with hiring, because other developers or technologists know about your organization and they're like, you know what? Yeah, I want to work there because I know they're doing some awesome things in open source. And it also helps with longevity, because you have other contributors coming in, introducing you to more relevant technologies and stuff like that. And then in terms of no money, right? Open source doesn't have to be free. You can have an open core business model. Businesses like the company I work at, GitHub, HashiCorp, MongoDB, they're all have open source components, but they're all making money. In fact, GitHub just announced our 1 billion ARR. I would advise you to chat with your OSPO about like what business model works best for you. And then I will end with saying, like, whether you're an organization or individual, it's never too late to open source. And that is it. I hope this was okay, just because I don't really have like how GitHub has been handling Hacktoberfest contributions.
Yeah, that was perfect. I love hearing about like not just the contributions to open source, but like the doors that it opens, right? Like,
Yeah.
you were saying the blog post that you wrote helped open doors, and I think just has kept opening doors.
Yeah.
So I think,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, I think your GitHub profile, your GitHub contributions are probably as impactful as your resume as a developer. And hiring managers love to see what you've done, what you've contributed, and it can really go a long way. I mean, it's helped me in my career. It's helped a lot of people that I know. So get out there and make contributions.
100% agree.
cool. Well, thank you, Rizal. Perfect. Yeah, I love that presentation.
Cool.
Next,
I think
go
one
on.
thing that Rizal mentioned in her talk was being afraid of reading documentation, which reminds me of that tweet from a while back saying that 6 hours of debugging can save you from 5 minutes of reading documentation, and it's so true.
It's so true. Now to just like remember that. All right. Next up, we have, I believe we're going with Christos
Hello.
with
Hello,
GitLab.
YouTube. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes.
Yes.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Nice to be here with you all on the live stream as well.
Perfect.
We're talking about documentation. It's really funny. It reminded me I was taking documentation one of the first times I was trying to contribute, and I was like, it took me hours to understand. And then I was like, after a few years, I was going back to documentation. I was like, no, it makes all sense. I don't have to debug anymore. Now it makes everything sense. So yeah, read the documentation.
Yes. Read the documentation. And then also, if you had trouble understanding the documentation, that's a great candidate for a PR or a merge request. If you had trouble reading it, I'm sure that there might be other people that have the same problems, and you can help clarify.
Exactly, that's for sure. Because sometimes, when people write the documentation, they come from they have a specific perspective about the software they write, or they have a specific experience, and sometimes it's not even writing documentation. Sometimes it's not that accessible or inclusive as we might think. And it's not only just the type of writing. Sometimes it can be the colors that you use. I stumble across a lot of different people in the past with some color blindness. So just documentation of the websites and thinking of that perspective as well is something really powerful. And also it's an easy and straightforward way to start contributing to open source projects out there, like Hacktoberfest, which is one of my favorite events. Like I remember I was like everyone in the beginning was like, okay, let's get a t-shirt. Everyone wants to get a t-shirt, right? So people started contributing to open source projects just to get a t-shirt, and then they stayed around because of the community and the amazing opportunities.
Yeah, and here we are 9 years later, huh?
Tell me about it. I'm getting old.
So do you have a presentation for us?
I do not have a presentation.
Okay.
I have some links which you can share whenever. I mean, I wanted to touch on a few different aspects of this initiative, GitLab and generally open source. I was inspired by Rizal's presentation earlier, and I wanted to continue to that on that aspect, on the inspirational one, which was actually a bit of a personal story. I also started contributing to open source because I liked the people. I remember I was in FOSDEM 12 years ago, and next to me there was a guy who wrote the ALSA sound driver, and I was like, it was so cool. He was just really respectful to me. He was talking to me like I was equally experienced, and I was just like a freshman. I was starting to learn how to program, and I was like inspired by how helpful and how nice people are, and that got me into to be more curious about contributing. I started with documentation, with public speaking, with marketing, pretty straightforward things you can do. Anyone can do, also translation, localization. And something that the open source ecosystem brings to everyone is from one person in a small local community in your region, like me, Christos. I come from Greece, back then I was like living in a small town in Greece. Suddenly I was part of a larger ecosystem. For example, the Fedora project, I was collaborating with people from across the world. And this aspect, it's just like really powerful. It's really unique, suddenly to be part of something global, diverse, inclusive, and something also that advances your skills, because when contributing to open source, or at least when you try to contribute to open source and you contribute, you actually evolve as an individual. And as you said, Ado or Ado, sorry, I don't want to kill your name.
Ado.
It's Ado.
Yep.
Right. And you said before, just showing up your GitHub or GitLab profile with all your contributions, it's also powerful. As a hiring manager, I want to see, your activity. Oh, you have experience in open source. You know how to operate and work as a larger group of people, with different perspectives. So this is something really unique. And again, Hacktoberfest, thank you all for, participating. Thank you all for contributing, and thank you all for organizing as well. It's like an amazing initiative. And at GitLab, it's our second year actually participating, and thanks for making this happen. It's our second year participating as a platform where people can contribute to projects hosted at GitLab. We got to see a lot of great contributions so far. We also got a lot of amazing contributions towards GitLab, the project, which is really nice. So thank you all for that. What else I wanted to say? And also for the fear of opening up and being open source, I share that fear with everyone, all the organizations and companies. It's really, everyone's afraid to just like open their code and be like, here's my code. But again, it's not just like opening the code. It's also the mentality of like, when you truly want to be an open source project, you need to also to meaningfully engage community throughout your development process, through different stages and with different forms. For example, you can engage people, having people contribute to your project, writing code, or you can have people do some QA on your product, or source ideas for for new products through the community. So you need to be really intentional, and this is where I'm gonna ask to share the link from the Open by Design approach. It's something a few years ago with Mozilla and the and research foundation. We did some research and trying to come up with some open source archetypes, which is like it's some archetypes in which you can use to better understand how you want to meaningfully engage your community throughout your development process. It's super generic, and you can apply across the market on different products. It can be like from software, it can be from anything else actually. So it's a really useful research and tool. I highly suggest people to take it away, go through it and read it. The Open by Design approach, because we should be open by design, not by default. You need to be more, So, and I don't know. And as you said, of course, Hacktoberfest, October is almost over. Hacktoberfest is never over. The people it would be great to people to stick around. We've been seeing a lot of people staying around after the Hacktoberfest, because you get the really nice, the flavor, and it's really nice to see people staying around. There are a lot of great opportunities. All of the projects, open source projects, that are bringing, willing to have all the contributors. If you're interested in GitLab, of course, just like an advertisement, but also because we really value all of our contributors' time and their contributions. We often organize hackathons and events and office hour calls, trying to bring our engineers closer to our community. And this is something that also engineers are taking a lot of advantage from by collaborating and working along with community. So if you want to connect with GitLab engineers, we have weekly office hour calls. Feel free to join us, and also can help you guide you through contributing to GitLab and also other open source projects, because it's not just GitLab, it's like the open source ecosystem we want to contribute to as an open core organization.
Perfect. Yeah.
Is there anything that, I don't know, they would like me to cover as well? If you let me talk, I'm Greek. I'll never stop.
No, I think you covered a lot of great stuff. I think just the ability to contribute to open source and being open by design, and everybody, we dropped the links in chat. I think that's a great thing to read through and really kind of, I don't know, be intentional about it is tough to do.
Exactly.
But cool. Right on. Thank you, Christos.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you shortly.
All right. Next up, we have Emil from Novu.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
Emil.
How you doing, guys? Adu, Chris, so nice to be here.
Thanks for
Likewise,
being here.
welcome.
Well, first of all, I'm honored, and I think you guys doing a great job hosting this. It's kind of not the first event that I'm lurking around and watching you, and I think you're doing a great job kind of organizing everything and doing those streams and all the work you do. I mean, really kudos for you folks.
Thank you.
All right, so I could jump right into my presentation, or you could maybe
Did you want to do? I don't know if your presentation has an intro about yourself, or if you want to do that before.
Well, it doesn't, because I'm really that concentrated on Novo right now. But I will kind of just shortly. Yeah. So my name is Emil, and yeah, I'm from Novo. I mostly taking care of the community and the developer experience for our community members and contributors. And generally, I'm kind of really passionate about our project. And basically, even though I haven't founded it, I still really feel like it's also my baby. And well, I just really just decided to show you it, guys.
Let's see
Perfect. Yeah, we had somebody from Novu. Oh, I'm blanking on the name. I'm so sorry.
Dima. You had Dima. He was the CTO and actually the co-founder.
Yes, and and the passion that he had, and just like you could really tell he cared, and I think that translates to I don't know, it trickles down for sure.
Absolutely, I think it's it's something that just gets you, and they probably just have the ability to locate and kind of identify the same minded like people, All right, so let's jump right into it. So basically, what is Novu? I will try kind of really to be as brief as I can. So Novu is an open source notification infrastructure. So when you're thinking about notification and communication with your maybe user base or customers or anything like that, usually it's actually meet us in many different ways. It could be social medias, kind of the way that the notification works, and just creating in us this such addicting behavior, or sometimes it's just kind of, it could ruin your life. If it's not done properly. But in general, kind of notifications, and it's a communication channel with your people, with your audience, with your users, and you need to do it properly. So once you're kind of starting to develop your product or your application, you probably will get to the point where you will think about, I probably should send an email like for a sign up, or sending an update that something actually happened. So just to keep my user engaged. But really fast, it probably just will be escalated. And I don't know if you guys recall, but there is this infrastructure schema of Slack notification infrastructure that went around the internet and around LinkedIn mostly, of how it's actually looked like, and it looked really monstrous and really big, and it just get messy. It's hard to maintain. It's hard to kind of keeping track of all the APIs and things that you need to take care of in terms of, let's say you want to send emails, you want to send maybe SMS, in-app notifications, push, maybe chat like through Discord or Slack. It's a lot of work, and many developers need to just have this have this need to reinvent the wheel again and again, and that's where actually Novo meets you. So Novo is one easy to use API, which is just include everything in it. So let's say you want to start with Novo, you could just run this simple command in your CLI, like npx Novo init, and it will get you right on track. So I will not do like the live demo because I definitely don't have time for it, but I just want to kind of really go quickly through what we actually do. So basically here is the getting starting part, where you connecting your providers, where you're building the notification templates. That is the part when you integrate to your backend. And this is also the embed notification. This is the embed notification, this notification center, which you put in your front end. Right after that, we have this notification templates, which you create if it's an in-app, if it's an email, or anything like this. And once you kind of deciding on what you actually want to do, and let's say I'm clicking here new, it gets me to create new template. So here I will write a name, kind of in-app or maybe email or SMS. The next step will be workflow editor. Right here, I'm going to just use or choose whatever I would like. And we have many different features and functionalities that we are working on, but currently we have all those communication channels that you could implement, as well as those really cool features, which is digest. Basically, digest and delay are a bit similar, but the digest is just improving the experience in terms of, let's say you supposed to send your user or kind of your customer one notification or couple or maybe even dozen notification. So if you don't like to just ruin the experience of him getting one after the other, you will probably just kind of put a timer or something like time-based, and the digest will collect and store all the notification that was kind of coming up, and then it will trigger it in one time and send it in one time, kind of in bulk to the user. So he will not be frustrated and kind of anxious about getting all those notifications right after the other. Right after that, you just building your workflow, how you would like to do it. User preferences. Again, this is kind of notification center side. It's for the user in terms of what he would like to get. This is the integration store, all the providers that we are currently supporting, and with the community demand, it's something that is just growing, and well, you could add anything you would like. Yeah, I really kind of went fast through that, but we have so many other features. So just check it out. I believe that you could really benefit from it, and I hope that I at least got you intrigued into Novo and at least get you a bit excited as much as I am. But in terms of Hacktoberfest, it was kind of our really first time getting really into this ocean, all right? And we prepared a lot of issues for this month, and it was a really great great efforts from our team, from our contributors to kind of prepare everything for it. And I think we succeeded. Of course, we have so many issues open, so it definitely not ending in October, kind of in the end of October. So you still can kind of just hop in and contribute, but just it was an amazing kind of effort. So in terms of contributors, we had, I think, almost 400 PRs that were submitted. Out of them, we kind of already merged around 300, which is kind of really constant work. But this is such a pleasure to do, and such an it's really satisfying because you can just go meet new people, see that those folks who are coming to your project or to your community are actually coming voluntarily and just want to improve and make it better. So I'm really excited every time someone is just even joining our Discord and kind of, hey, I want to help. How could I do that? And I'm like, sure, welcome. Like, we have a new friend. So yeah, that's basically how I approach that. We had many events all over kind of October, and we really tried a lot just to cover so many grounds. But we will continue to do that. But Hacktoberfest was a really push for us. And we also initiated this initiative with a few other open source partners, which called Hack Squad. We were really inspired by how Hacktoberfest is working, but then last year we kind of started this slight motion of, wait, but we could also contribute with friends and kind of our colleagues or something, and kind of pull people in to do it together. So that's how Hack Squad was created. So basically, in just this month, 3,000 people and probably almost 4,000 signed in, and we created so many teams, probably around 300 or 400, which are constantly contributing and also kind of having this competition over the Hacktoberfest events. And this is really crazy. And of course, we have so many new friends, new people, new members in our Discord that are constantly joining, constantly kind of searching around of how they could contribute and how they could be a bigger part, and just I really not afraid to say it, but just to become friends and a real community. So we're really putting a lot of efforts to that, and we see that it's really it brings value not just to us but also to them, because we really help each other grow and create something greater and better for everyone. And that was in a really brief. Yeah, I'm out.
I think what I love about it too is you kind of hit it right on the head. Is like every time somebody does a PR or contributes to open source or like joins a Discord, it's a new friend. And it's exciting every time.
Exactly.
And it's around the world. There's no boundaries. Like it's just fantastic to see.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And I really enjoy every moment of it.
Well, thank you, Emil. I think a lot of people are pretty stoked on Novu here. A lot of people are excited to try it out. You all have done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. It wasn't a pleasure to be here. And of course, I think we will also have some sort of discussion later.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, we will. So we have one more fantastic speaker for you all, and then we're going to go into our Kahoot, which is our true and false game that everyone is can participate in, and I'll participate myself because I don't know the answers. But next up, we have Nirmalia.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing?
Hey there.
Hey. Nirmalia with Rapid API.
Yep.
I got to add in.
Thank you, folks, for having me, and really appreciate the great work that you folks are doing. And okay, so I just wanted to ask, like, I can just start with a short intro and then move forward if that's okay.
That's perfect.
That's good.
All right, thank you. So my name is Nirmalia Ghosh, and I work as a developer programs engineer at Rapid API. So my main job is to write code and to build platforms and applications. And like we are API platform. So Rapid API is a one-stop shop for all your API needs. So imagine that you're building any kind of application. Like for example, take any real application, you will need some sort of APIs to work with, right? You can either build those APIs yourself and spend a lot of money and infrastructure on it, or you can use one pre-made API from our Rapid API hub, and then you can start working on the front-end parts of it. And apart from that, we also have a free VS Code extension, which you can use to test your APIs and generate types automatically. And you all know, like, who doesn't like types? And that is something that we really do well, the VS Code extension. And apart from that, on the documentation part, we do publish a lot of content on Twitter, on our platforms, rapidapi.com/guides and rapidapi/.com learn. And we provide information regarding APIs, like it can be REST APIs, GraphQL APIs, Web APIs, any kind of APIs. Again, a quick fact: if you are interested in knowing more about how those platforms have been built, watch Amit's talk in the Next.js Conf. So that is something that we really described, how we build those kind of platforms, how you consume API from WordPress and use MDX to platform to power our platforms. Okay, so this was the first time that we have been participating in Hacktoberfest, and we really learned a ton this year. The whole experience was fantastic. We don't have an open source projects, and for us, it was a little bit different. So the way in which you can contribute to open source via Rapid API was to write about stuff that you can build using the APIs. You can tweet about stuff. You can also run in API meetups. And there was one submission about running an API meetup regarding Rapid API, which we were really proud of. And overall, we are very happy with the participation this year. And whatever we learned as first-time maintainers, we will definitely dive more into it and hopefully make it even better next year. All right. Now, open source is something that is really important to me because personally, I build projects because I just wanted to document stuff. For example, you are building something and you know that that thing will happen again in the future. For example, something like authentication, or you want to club two different technologies together. Like you are going to work with those two kinds of things later on. For example, React and Node, right? And what I did is that I created these small applications and kept them on GitHub. And I really noticed that over time, people started using those. People started creating issues. People started creating PRs to those things. And it was really a very fantastic experience because I never expected to go into that way. And it really felt great. And that is why I really appreciate and hope that people try to contribute to open source if possible, as that can be a great way to build any kind of application that you always wanted to do. Like you are working in your office throughout the whole day and you don't have time to build something. You just need a push. Like in my case, personally, I always needed that push to build something. And Hacktoberfest always provides me that platform to build something on my own and just push it to GitHub or like deploy it somewhere and then show it to the world. And that was something that I was really crazy about when I started working professionally or during my college days. And like right now we don't get a lot of time to build stuff, but like when you have something, like there's a motivation for building projects, and that really helps. Like you can always contribute to open source projects that are already there, or you can build your own stuff and write about them. Like I remember, like I used to build certain things and then write about it on my own blog. That was a very fun time, and I really liked doing that. Uh, Again, like for example, Next.js Conf was there, and they released a new way in which you can fetch data. So the next thing that I'm going to do is that use one of the APIs from Rapid API Hub, and then use the new technologies to fetch data in the Next.js application and build something cool with it. So that's what I'm going to do next. And that was all that I had to say. It was short, but thank you. And really appreciate all of you folks for the work that you're doing, and I really like it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I think one of the best ways to learn is to write about it, right? Write a blog post. Because one, you really, to write about it, you have to understand it to a certain extent, and it helps your understanding, it helps your learning, and then it also helps other people. So I think writing blog posts, whether it's on your personal blog, Dev2, Medium, whatever platform, just write it out, get your thoughts out, and help others. It's a great way to contribute.
Exactly. And like from my side personally, it was something like I never really thought about doing, but I kept forgetting about stuff, like how I plugged something into something else, how I made them work together. So I started writing code comments, but like it never works. Whenever you update a package, as Chris already mentioned during the start of the call, it always breaks or messes up certain things. So I started writing this small blog post, which really helped me. Like, for example, it has happened that I wanted to learn about something and I searched and my own blog was there. So it was a very fantastic experience to have, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and you say that it helps your learning. I think it cements it, because when you write, you have to know like 100 times more than what you're putting in the blog post. It's the teach to learn mentality, and I think it's fantastic. And I think you just have to be ready for if anyone says like, "Hey, I have a question," and you just have to have extra knowledge than the blog post. So great notes there. I think just build, write about it, and that by itself, those two things just opens doors.
Yep, it does.
Cool. So thank you for joining, Nirmalia. I think next up, we're going to bring everybody on screen and we're going to start playing a little game of Kahoot. And
Yeah.
Otto, I believe you're sharing.
I'm sharing, and let me get it up and running. So, present.
Hi again.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
All right, everybody in chat, this Kahoot, it's a true or false game. There's 10 questions, all surrounding open source as a topic. And to join, just go to kahoot.it and then enter in this game pin. All right, we have Vincent. That was quick.
I was ready.
He knew.
Vincent wants the swag, wants the prize.
I
Oh, we
smell
have
something
prizes.
Fishy.
We do have prizes. The winner will just need to take a screenshot and can send me an email, and I will figure out what the prize is. I don't know what the prize is, but there is one.
If Otto wins, he's going to make the prize something fantastic. All right, Bjorn's in. Nice. Dotun. Just go to kahoot.it and enter in that game pin.
And we'll give everybody another 30 seconds or so to join. And I believe you can also join after we start. You'll just miss out on the first few questions.
All right, we've got Hari in here. And while we're waiting on that, we had some questions that we were going to have for group discussion later, but I think we'll throw one in here while we're letting people join up. Let's see. Oh, these are like kind of longer questions, huh? So for everybody on stream right now, we'll do what has been your Hacktoberfest highlight? And we can go down the list, starting with Vincent.
Hacktoberfest highlights. The most interesting thing was that we made a script to scrape for stuff we have to reply to. And each time I get through one, I run the script again. The list grows larger. And I get in this rabbit hole of reviewing and replying to an issue, and then seeing that the list is now 12 items longer. That's my favorite part.
Oh my God.
And seeing that much activity on GitHub, it makes me happy on a very deep level.
Did you scrape for like PRs or issues or?
PRs and issues that we haven't reacted to and haven't replied to. So new activity basically that was not initiated by someone on our team.
Nice. I had to do a little bit of scraping myself and work with the GitHub API last year at the end of Hacktoberfest, and processing that many things, going through the GitHub API is, I don't even, I'll have to do it again this year. I'll need help. Nirmalia, what about you? Highlight of Hacktoberfest.
From my side, being a first-time maintainer of an like looking at this side of the coin, when you are first time doing something, it's always really difficult, exciting, but you're also afraid about certain things. So for me, it was like learning a lot of things, learning about how to organize something like this, and then work with the community to come up with a plan where everything can work together and we can make it a successful event. And like the main learning for me was to just know about this kind of stuff, because like I have been working mostly in code. I have done open source projects, but how to help people to come into open source and contribute, that is something that I learned during this Hacktoberfest. And I think that was very exciting for me. That was very new to me. And yeah, that was awesome.
Awesome. Looks like we're getting some good people joining. We're up to 11 now. Let's see if we can get a few more. Emil, what about you?
All right. I think I got a few. So the first one is that I think we doubled the amount of the contributors that we had to our project, which is really just phenomenal. As well as the amount of the pull requests that were submitted. It's just unreal. I mean, we thought and we were prepared kind of for it, but then once you really encounter it, it's really amazing and really just mind blowing. So that was a highlight for us. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good numbers. Roselle, what about you?
I would say highlights for me are sometimes I peer program, whether it's Hacktoberfest or not, with people to make their first contributions, and that's always like really fun to help them make their first PR.
That's fantastic.
It's a really good
All
one.
right.
Cool.
I think we're good. Yeah, we've got 13. Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off. Start. All right. So remember, folks, it's important to get the question right, but timing is also important as well. So the faster you answer, the more points you'll get. And the first question we have is, what problem launched the start of open source software? And I can't believe it's not CORS related.
CORS was here at the beginning and it'll be here at the end.
So,
Oh,
a printer jam was the correct answer, and only one person
What?
got it.
Dang, my gut was telling me to choose that, but I was like, no.
what?
Printer jam.
Printer jam.
It wasn't
makes sense.
obvious at all.
The first
So-
bug was an actual bug in something, and the first open source thing was a printer.
Love it. So Bjorn is on the leaderboard as the only person that got
Nice,
points.
man.
And it was a guess. Well, congrats.
Nice.
I'm like, I'm gonna hire this person. Like, but then he said that he guessed.
So this question is, what other options were floated around to give a name to open source? Is it free software, sourceware, GNUware, or copyleft?
I will
Gotta
not
give-
listen to my gut now.
I gotta give Phoebe a lot of props for coming up with these questions, for coming up with the Kahoot. It's a challenging one and a very fun one, and it looks like free source and sourceware were both selectable and correct options. Interesting. I don't think I've heard sourceware before. It's a new one to me. But it looks like 11 people got it right, or at least.
Nice.
Yikes, it said I was in 15th place.
So Bjorn is still on the leaderboard with 1,072 points. SJ, Ron, Vincent, and Nirmalia are on the leaderboard as well, though. And yeah, printer issues have not been solved yet.
I bought a brand new one and it's already giving me problems.
Who is considered to be the father of open source? Yeah, my printer's Wi-Fi connectivity was not working at all. So
Ever?
I've actually never. So I actually reorganized my office to run an Ethernet cable through the wall, through everything, just to have a stable printer. And this one, so Richard Stallman is considered to be the father of open source, but it looks like a lot of people guessed Linus, which would also make sense. Another trick question. So,
I have a little bit of background information that I'm reading right now on the whole printer thing. So Richard Stallman was a staff programmer at MIT, and the printer kept jamming. So he wrote code for the printer driver so that when it jammed, it would actually print out a paper that said, "The printer is jammed, please fix it."
That's funny. All right, so the leaderboard has changed, and now we have Vincent in as top dog. Love it. So moving on to the next question. How many open source software projects and versions are there? Oh, this is seems like a trick question.
Yeah, I feel like, is that like now or?
I guess we'll see.
Oh man.
Oh.
160 to 180. I feel like, is this maybe just the projects that were part of Hacktoberfest? I feel like there's more than 180,000.
Yeah.
Or I guess if you count the forks, maybe 160,000 unique, but
I would have picked a trillion immediately.
Yeah, easily. So yeah, we'll look into this one and see how we came up with that number. But Nirmalia has moved into first place by getting this one correct, and he's on a streak, 3 in a row.
Yeah, the Kahoot rewards the streaks pretty well, so there's still a chance.
There's still a chance. We still have 6 questions to go. This one is a multi-select. What is the definition of open source software? Is it free and open software that only developers can modify? Code that is designed to be publicly accessible? Is it shareware, software free of charge initially? Or source code that is available to anyone to read, modify, copy, and share?
Nice.
Nice.
Finally, my first.
It looks like most everybody got this one right. And the leaderboard. So Nirmalia has remained in first place, but Vincent is right on his trail, just trailing by a little over 100 points. And Ron, Douglas, and Emil are on the leaderboard as well. Cool. Moving on. What are the top 3 economically most important open source projects? Is it Linux, MongoDB, and React, Spark, Selenium, and TensorFlow, Linux, Git, and MySQL, or Kubernetes, Apache Cassandra, and Django? I think I know this one. I'm pretty sure. Yep.
What?
MySQL, huh?
Well,
That's
I feel like
important.
Linux here, just considering that it powers most of the internet, just won by default. I feel like MySQL is bigger than Mongo and Git. I mean, who doesn't use Git these days?
Roselle's like, I told you all. I know.
Although I wonder how this will change in the future. Could React, as Next.js continues to, I think I read a tweet after Next.js Conf that somebody said that React is eating the internet and Next.js is eating up React. So it's interesting to see how the web is gonna change, and is Next.js gonna be the next default for building web applications
I don't
on
know.
the web?
The scale needed to get to compete with Git is
Exactly.
ginormous.
True. Cool. This was a fun question, I think.
Yeah, good job.
All right. So Nirmalya still at the top, Vincent right behind him, and Rizal has made it to the leaderboard as well.
The comeback.
So, yeah, and there's still time to take the top place. So, what are two types of open source licenses? MIT and Apache, copyright and BSD, permissive and copyleft, or GPL and AGPL?
Is it rewarding more if I kind of answer quickly?
Yes, it is.
Ooh, nice. What? What?
Oh, okay.
Wait, is this right?
I would say that this is, I would say MIT and Apache are types of open source licenses. Again, I think this question maybe was worded weirdly. So yeah, we'll look into this. Chris, do you have any notes on why this was chosen?
I'm like scrolling quickly.
Really, my world is getting upside down now.
Yeah.
Which I guess,
yeah.
I guess a type of open source license technically is correct. Technically, which I guess is the best kind of correct, right? but a trick question nonetheless.
Yeah, I think the wording there is
cool. Well, it looks like Randall was one of the few that got it right and moved up in the leaderboard. Let's see what the next trick question we have.
All right, 3 more.
All right. Open source only refers to software. True or false? Five seconds on the clock.
The last question has me like rattled now.
And everybody got this one right. Open source can refer to much more than software. So I don't think the leaderboard will change because everybody got this one right, but the points did move up significantly.
I feel like we'll see a sheesh soon with a 4 streak.
What is the market size value of Linux? Is it 5.3 billion, 1.2 billion, 899 million, or $133 billion?
That's a big jump.
Like this is another potentially trick question.
Vincent's shaking his head.
So 5.33 billion. Interesting. I would have assumed the 133 billion as 4 other people did. Anybody that answered 5.33, that's of our panelists, why did you pick that?
I chose it as a guess. But it looks like
too. Solid.
It works. Trust the system, right?
Yeah.
So Ron B takes the lead with 4192 points. Nirmalia is right behind him with Randall, Vincent, and Ashish. And this leads us into our final question. I think it's still anybody's game. So get this one right quickly, and you can win the mystery swag. True or false? Hacktoberfest has contributed 1,987,235 valid pull requests to open source projects in its 9 years of existence.
Almost 2 million.
Almost 2 million. Wow. Seems like a very specific number. And only one person got it wrong. True. So 1.9 million open source contributions in 9 years. That is very, very impressive. And thanks to all of you who contributed, who continued to contribute during Hacktoberfest or outside of Hacktoberfest. Let's see how this affected our leaderboard and who won.
Yeah, the podium.
All right. In third place, we have Randall. Second place, Nirmalia. Congrats.
Ooh.
And our winner with 5,172 points is
Ron.
Ron B. Congratulations,
Nice.
Ron.
Congratulations.
Congrats, Ron.
Awesome. So I will post my email address here. If you would like to email me, Ron, reach out, and we at DO will send you some swag. And congrats for being our winner. Chris, we'll have to talk to Phoebe and get some clarification on a couple of these questions.
Douglas has invalidated the 10th question.
Oh, man. Love it. Well, thank you all for participating in the Kahoot. I will stop sharing my screen, and I think we can wrap up and continue our group discussion while we have everybody on screen.
Otto, can you... Sorry, I don't know if you already said that. Can you drop your email to Ron? Is that...
I did.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Wow, I thought I would do a lot better.
Only Nirmalia from this group made it to the podium. I'm disappointed, guys.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna be fired.
This was the equivalent of like a whiteboard test. Cool. So yeah, to wrap it up, we just have a couple fun questions for the panel. Get some good discussion, and then thank you everybody for joining. We're just gonna hang out and have some laughs, and then we'll wrap it up. So I think the next question we're gonna go with is what did you all learn during Hacktoberfest this year, and anything you want to carry forward into next year? Everybody's looking up at the sky. And whoever wants to go.
Mine is super simple. I didn't realize how important that non-code contributions were. Like, I'm still fairly new to open source, especially like people just creating content around that project or even just using and testing it. And I'm gonna try to carry that forward and make sure I get to highlight open source projects as much as possible.
So for us, one of the really cool things that we discovered was that during Hacktoberfest, when we learn about other people's repositories, it's a really good idea to have, for us at least, to have some issues that people can contribute towards that are sort of like a collaboration of two projects, and that is really fun. Like we, after talking to people at DeepGram, we were like, this could make an awesome integration with AppWrite. And so we put up an issue, and people jumped at it because it was so fun to do. Yeah, so that's something we're gonna keep doing probably for the next years to come.
Continuing on the same front, from my side also, I think like a lot of new things were there because this is the first time that we are participating in Hacktoberfest. And I think that a lot of integrations could have been done beforehand, and which we will do next year definitely, so that this things becomes really, really impressive, because there are so many good projects that you can build, like any type of full stack or real life application you want to build, you can use APIs. And that is something that we really understood this time, and we are going to introduce some sort of like like starters or boilerplates which people can use and start contributing immediately.
Something that we discovered and probably will continue to explore is actually the craving of folks just to contribute and be a part of a project. So in the sense of preparing issues and kind of making and preparing the ground, I think we did that well. But we had a lot of learning around the area of the onboarding experience and how to kind of improve it in a sense. So I believe next year, it's going to be so much better.
Otto, what about you?
For me, I mean, I just learned how fun this community can really be. I mean, I've always kind of contributed to Hacktoberfest over the last years from the outside as a lone contributor, as just kind of get in and out, get my swag. And this year, being part of DigitalOcean and hosting a couple of the Hacktoberfest events that we've had, talking to the community, it was so enlightening. Learning about what people are building, how they're building it, and everybody just coming together as one big happy community. And this is something that I think almost every speaker touched on, that fear of submitting a PR or open sourcing your code, at the fear of judgment from others, at the fear of I'm going to release this, I'm going to write this blog post, and people are going to say this is terrible, go away. In my career, I don't think I have ever seen that. People are so encouraging in this community. They want to see you succeed. They want to help. The vast majority of times. So I'm sure that there's every now and then there's a bad actor that gets out pretty quickly. But if you are afraid, don't be. Open that PR, write that blog post. It'll be great. We want to see it.
Yeah, I think that's such a big thing that can't be overlooked. Like how welcoming the community is, and how for every 100 people that see what you do and enjoy what you do, they might not be as vocal because they're kind of like on the internet, right? So the people that are the vocal ones, don't let them get to you, unless it's positive. That's cool. And yeah, me personally, I love the non-code contribution focus. I come from doing a lot of blogging, and that is kind of how my career skyrocketed from nothing. So to see that being more of a focus, blogging, documentation, all that good stuff, like, is so necessary and so important.
Cool. And while Chris loads up the next question, I do want to call out Randall for correctly identifying the types of licenses when it comes to that Kahoot question, with the broad categories of permissive versus restrictive, where licenses like Apache and MIT are permissive licenses, which allow you to take the code and do whatever you want with it, while GPL and AGPL are a little bit more restrictive while still being open source. And I also was able to find the article that talks about the market size of Linux being 5.33 billion in 2021. And it looks at the kind of cloud computing providers and kind of their net revenues, and it is expected to grow to 6.27 billion in 2022, up to 22.15 billion by 2029. So Linux and open source is here to stay.
That's quite the growth. Cool. Yeah, I think that can wrap it up. I know we're scheduled for the hour and a half, so I think this was a fantastic stream. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Any questions from chat? Last call. Any final words from any of our panelists? Thank you so much for joining. All right. I think we covered it all. Everybody's happy to be here and loves open source. And thank you, everybody in chat, for joining. I can't believe it's the end of Hacktoberfest, but Hack Forever Fest starts.
It came and went. Bye.
Cool. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for participating. I hope you've had a lot of fun this month, and we'll continue to go on and do fantastic things. So everybody in chat, thanks again, and we'll see you around.
Thanks all.